Good. Good evening. Welcome to the Morrison County Board of Adjustment public hearing for December 23, 2025. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. I have a few items to cover before we get started. Please sign in at the door if you've not already done so. There you will also find a detailed handout of the step-by-step procedure we will follow tonight if you wish to take one. Please put any electronic devices on silent mode at this time. Also, please note that all testimony is being recorded for the record. Members of the Board of Adjustment are appointed by the County Board of Commissioners with one member from each of the 5 commissioner districts. Land Services staff is here to assist the Board of Adjustments with its duties. The task of the Board of Adjustment is to consider requests for variances and appeals from an order, requirement, or decision made by a county zoning official in accordance with state law and county ordinance. Each request is considered on its own merit. The burden of proving the practical difficulty rests with the applicant. If a variance is granted, it is granted to the land, not to the landowner. There's a protocol for how we will proceed tonight. For each variance request on the agenda, we'll hear a staff report, testimony from the applicants, and the board will discuss and gather more information as needed. Next, I will ask if there is anyone in the audience wishing to speak to this request. I'll ask each party to come to the podium, state their name and address for the record, and give their testimony. Please be as factual as possible and direct all statements and questions to me. After all testimony is complete, I will close the public hearing portion of the process. The board will then review and discuss the case in terms of our finding of fact criteria as required by Minnesota statute and county ordinance. We'll have a series of votes, discuss whether conditions be made, and have a final motion to approve or deny the request based on those findings. After this final vote on your request, you may leave if you wish. We have 2 agenda items today. The first regular agenda item this evening is Delford and Carol Morkey / Steve Morkey, 31522 Lakeview Drive, variance to add on to a non-conforming structure. As you sit, please state your name and address for the record, or confirm that's the address, 31522 Lakeview Drive, Cushing.
Yeah, hi, my name's Steve Murkey, and I'm the son of Del and Carol Murkey, and the address is, 31522 Lakeview Drive, Cushing, Minnesota.
Murkey, got it.
Murkey.
I said it wrong.
Everyone does.
All right.
Yeah.
Miss Amy, staff report?
Again, this is a request to expand a non-conforming structure within the bluff. The ordinance section that applies is section 706.1B, and that requires a 30-foot setback from the top of a bluff. And then also section E, which discusses bluff impact zones. Here's an aerial photograph of the property, and it's outlined in blue. And then here is a shot of the property from the water. And then here is a site drawing provided by the applicant. And here is a survey. Here are some photos taken at the site viewing. The property is in Section 28 of Scandia Valley Township on Lake Alexander. It is a conforming duplex lot and is located within the Ossipee Estate subdivision, which was established in 1989. According to the assessor's records, the 1,618 square foot dwelling was built in 2004. It meets setback from the lake but is within a bluff. The applicant is requesting a variance to expand the non-conforming dwelling by adding a 4 by 16 foot extension to the existing porch, and then that porch will be converted to a main floor bedroom. The addition will be constructed on pier footings underneath the existing roof line. No excavation will be necessary. And then here are criteria questions, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Miss Amy. Anything to add to that, or did that sound right?
No, it's exact.
Perfect.
Yes.
All right, thank you. Open up to the board members for questions, discussion.
Mr. Chair.
Clint?
So, Steve, could you just talk us, maybe go a little more in depth about your, I believe it's called a diamond footing you're going to put in? just so we're clear for the record on how that would be in detail, because we're not talking any excavation or anything like that. So if you could just explain that a little bit better would be great.
You know, I'm not a contractor, or I don't build houses myself. The person that we have doing this has built over 1,000 houses themselves, and he just said they're the slickest, greatest thing. And he just said there'll be no bluff disturbance, there's no excavating, and I thought he was joking, but I think he might have been serious when I said, so you're just gonna dig them? And he said, no, you're going to. But I think we're just gonna dig 4 holes and and put them in. And he said it's just actually a really simple procedure. I don't know anything about these diamond life footings myself.
Just wanted to, for the record, the way I understand it, all the same thing. It's just hand dug. So
Yes.
just wanted on the record, there wouldn't be no excavating, none of that disturbance. So that's, I just wanted that for the record.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that.
Just maybe some comments, looking at this property, as of today, what our ordinance states, there's absolutely no way this house would ever got built there
We're
because of the bluff. The one thing I do like about the property, that goes to you and your parents' character, tons and tons of all native growth there.
Yes.
There, I didn't see any erosion. I think it's just wonderful how the shoreline is native, all the way down the steep banks of the bluff and all that, and just the way the house was designed, whoever built it originally did a good job because it didn't hurt anything. Now we're looking 20 years later, and it's all there, and that's great. So I think, you know, we don't normally allow additions or anything in the bluffs. This is a pretty minimal ask. I think it goes a long ways just because of how this stewardship has been done on this property, you know, so far. And it's a minimal invasive project. There's not as much invasion into that, basically be none into the bluff. So that's just some positives. But just note that with our ordinance, we wouldn't even allow this to be even built, you know, today with the way the ordinance is.
Yes.
So that's just some of my observations that I saw there. Very nice property, but boy, you gotta be a billy goat for that place.
Yeah, thank you. You know, we think it's beautiful. For us, it's everything we could ever want. The one thing we didn't have that we were willing to look past at the time, when my family was younger, even myself getting older, there's a lot of steps, but not having a main floor bedroom, it was okay at first, but now that my mom is handicapped, and with the stairs and all that stuff, and we have this porch that we honestly never use for anything, because when you see the picture right here, that's all back deck. Why would you want to go sit inside a porch where you can't see anything? So we have a room that's very close to what we need. It just doesn't have a closet. And by having a main floor bedroom, it just solves all our problems, and it really makes the place more functional than it is for all. And yeah, we really do enjoy the environment, and we've done nothing to the property but to improve it and kept it natural. It's unfortunate you can't see all the wildflowers and everything we've planted that are natural to the area as well. So thank you for all your kind words as well. My parents would really like hearing that.
Thanks.
Mr. Chair? So Steve, how long have your family owned this, or did you build it back in 2004?
No, we bought it in 2019.
2019?
Yeah, and all the pictures we submitted, I don't know if you have them in front of you, but they're all pictures from the real estate listings in 2019. That, because we wanted people to know that we haven't changed anything from what we bought.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the next question is, sounds like you have an area where you could also, another room, that could have been used for a handicap room. Instead, you chose to use this porch. You didn't want to convert it. What was the reasoning for putting an addition on here? Because expansion in the bluff, that's a pretty sensitive area, and we typically don't allow it.
Yeah. I may be misunderstanding what you're asking me, because we don't have another area. Right now, my mom and dad's bedroom is downstairs. There's no main floor bedrooms.
Okay.
So this porch it's like a non-conforming bedroom's shape and size. So it's close, but I think it's an 11 by 16, and I think 10 by 16, thank you. And industry standards for a bedroom is not that shape or that size.
Okay.
And so this porch is there and it's empty, we're not using it. And it isn't a point of needing to be insulated, needing new windows, needing everything. So before we went ahead and did all that, we want to just ask for 4 feet to get a closet to make it a main floor bedroom. And so am I answering your question?
Somewhat. So, another thing is, why would you want to choose, I see a king-size bed wanting to fit in there and make it accessible? Why a king-size?
I don't know if I'm asking for, I think, a California queen.
Okay.
But my dad's 6'4".
Okay.
And he'll be 81, and so when you're 6'4", his feet hang off a standard bed like 1.5 feet. So I have in here the dimensions of a California king. I don't need one
Yeah,
myself.
I did see something and I says, boy, that's a,
But yeah, so since we only have 11 feet right now, when you put the California king in there, and if you were to turn the bed the other way and not have a closet and then the doorway and it's just, it's a very, it's so close, but the shape's not correct.
okay, so the other part is, I know what I'm handicapped. My wife is handicapped. She's been in a wheelchair 15 years. She's in a power chair. So I understand that when she has her flare-ups, we have a hospital bed for her.
Yeah.
And typically when you're handicapped situations, they 2 separate beds, hospital like this here. So, and for width and stuff there, that's why I'm just saying, well, you're playing the handicap card in some respects, and I get part of it.
Yes.
But you've got a really steep, lots of hills, and can you even just come to the place and sit there, and that's basically about it, because obviously you can't get to the boat, to the access or anything. You can see things from there.
Well, no, excuse me on that, but the reason we bought this place, we've been looking for years, is if you look at the property layout, we have our own road that goes right to the dock. So my mom and dad leave all their things in their car. They get to the car.
Okay.
They leave the driveway, they come down this little road you can see in the bottom of the picture there, and they park the car at the dock.
Okay.
And they are able to get on my pontoon.
Okay, well, I did not know that. Thank you for
Yeah,
your
most
point.
people don't.
Yeah,
But as we knew with them aging that they'd never be able to do these stairs.
okay, okay,
So if it didn't have that road there, they would have never bought it.
okay,
Yeah.
okay. That explains that. Thank you.
Yes, no, thank you, they're great questions.
Thanks, Marv. Anything? Okay. I'm going to open this section of the meeting up to the public. Any public comment, please go up to the podium, state your name and address for the record, and your facts, please. Any public comment? That's 2 times. Any public comment? That's 3. We'll close this section of the meeting to the public and move on to our finding of fact criteria with the board members present here tonight. And I should have stated this at the beginning of the meeting, but George, Clint, and myself were all on site on Friday, December 19th with Amy at both properties that we're talking about this evening. Marv, did you get a chance to visit?
Mr. Chair, I did not have a chance to view
Okay.
these properties.
Thanks.
Or this property. I had something going and then I've been sick.
Nope,
for
that's
the
good
last
enough.
few days.
Thanks. Perfect. Okay, question number 1 is the request in harmony with the general purposes and intent of the Morrison County Land Use Ordinance and Comprehensive Plan. Clint mentioned this earlier, I'll take this one, about it being minimally invasive. So the fact that you're not bringing in equipment, that you're doing this by hand to start, and then you're talking about the smallest add-on somebody could probably do for this area in this specific location on the property.
Yes.
Next to the hillside there. So for me, it's in harmony, the request is, just due to the small ask that it actually is. Board members, any comment?
Mr. Chairman,
George?
I'd just like to add, the impervious surface on this lot is 10.9% after excavation, and it's only a 64 square foot addition, so very, very minimal.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair?
Marv?
On the other flip side is, here, anytime there's any building in the bluff zone, as Clint mentioned it in discussion, we would have never allowed this here. In putting addition in this here is not in harmony, even though it's minimum.
Thank you. Question 2, is the applicant proposing to use the property in a reasonable manner not permitted by land use ordinance? Marv?
Well, I'm going to talk the other side of it, wanting to make it handicap accessible and having access to landing where they could use it as handicap, and being minimally invasive to the bluff is probably reasonable, but it's still in the bluff zone.
Mr. Chair?
Clint?
I'd just add, when we look at this from reasonable standpoint, we got a conforming duplex lot. It's really a big lot. There's a lot of vegetation. This is one of the better sites that we've seen as far as especially taking care of a bluff. When we look at a 64 square foot addition with no excavation involved, it's very, very minimal. With this low impervious surface, I think it's real reasonable. I mean, we're looking at maybe probably a tenth, or not even a hundredth of what the property area is that he wants to add something to it. So I think it is a reasonable ask.
Thank you, Clint. Question 3, will the issuance of the variance maintain the essential character of the locality? George?
Yes, I believe so. It's a 64 square foot addition. It's on the north side of the house up against the bluff. They will not be disturbing the bluff, and I think on that one picture that we saw there, if you look at the house from the lake, you're not even going to notice that extra 4 feet on the north side of that house.
Thank you, George. Anybody else? Question 4, is the alleged practical difficulty due to circumstances unique to the property? Clint?
Yes, very unique to this property is I don't believe there'd be any place to build anything on this property because of the bluff. And it was put in there. It's there, so we have to deal with it. It's a very nice home. But just the fact that it's there, it's a very small ask. Not very intrusive, and with wanting the handicap accessibility, when you look at the property, the uniqueness of it, how you come through the garage and it's all one level and you can get to it, to try and look somewhere else, it's just not feasible to add something. And anytime we're looking at new construction, we're looking at something way bigger. This is just super, super small ask. So I think the practical difficulty has to also do with the real small ask that's not allowed. And I think we can outweigh that by the previous 3 questions that we've answered so far.
Thank you, Clint. Anybody else? Question 5 is the need for the variance created by actions other than the landowner or prior landowners. It goes right back to the practical difficulty question with it being in the bluff. And again, the minimal ask that goes along with this. If you weren't in the bluff, you wouldn't have to ask for a variance at this juncture. Question 6, does the alleged practical difficulty involve more than just economic considerations? Marv?
I believe it does, but I'm still struggling with the practical difficulty on that. I don't like the way Clint answered that, but here they're trying to do it minimally invasive, no excavating, and trying to make it work for the parents. So I believe there's more than just economic considerations here.
Thank you, Marv. Anybody else? Okay.
Mr. Chair,
Clint?
before we vote, I just have one question. I don't believe I'm sure it's fine, but with their sewer system, Amy, be adding another bedroom, is that all good? I guess we never talked about that.
Yes, and I believe we spoke about that at the development review team meeting, the status, because another bedroom would be coming online and the capacity of the septic system.
Well, you know what's really strange is, I believe when you look at the property itself, I believe it says it has a three bedrooms, but it doesn't. And the septic, when we had it all compliance and all.
Inspected, yeah.
Inspected and all that stuff, they made it sound like, that the place could have 4 bedrooms.
Yeah, I believe we had
I don't
checked
know
that
the
and it was
sizes.
sized appropriately.
That's fine, I just wanted to ask
That would be
because
something we would
Yeah.
we
double
just haven't
check.
talked about it and I thought we better, so.
Yes, and that's usually when we research before the development review
Yep.
team meeting.
Okay.
That's one of the things that we look
Okay,
at.
that's fine, just wanted to double check, so.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Moving on to the vote. Question 1, is the request in harmony with the general purposes and intent of the Morrison County Land Use Ordinance and Comprehensive Plan? John is yes. Marv?
No.
Brent, I'm gonna have to skip that one tonight. George?
Yes,
Clint?
Yes.
Question 2, is the applicant proposing to use the property in a reasonable manner not permitted by land use ordinance? Marv?
Yes.
George?
yes,
Clint?
Yes.
John is yes. Question 3, will the issuance of the variance maintain the essential character of the locality? George?
yes,
Clint?
Yes.
John is yes. Marv?
Yes.
Question 4, is the alleged practical difficulty due to circumstances unique to the property? Clint?
Yes.
John is yes. Marv?
No.
Brent? George?
yes,
It's too repetitive. Question 5, is the need for the variance created by actions other than the landowner or prior landowners? John is yes. Marv?
No.
George?
yes,
Clint?
Yes.
Question 6, does the alleged practical difficulty involve more than just economic considerations? Marv?
Yes.
George?
yes,
Clint?
Yes.
John is yes. I got all 6 questions answered to the affirmative. Is there a motion to approve the variance as requested?
Mr. Chair, I'd make that motion to approve.
I'll second it, Mr. Chair.
Made by Clint and seconded by George to approve the variance as requested. All in favor, say aye. George?
Aye,
Marv?
Nay.
Clint?
Aye.
John is aye. Variance is approved as requested. Thanks for your time. Please continue to work with Land Services as you move ahead with the project.
Of course.
All right, thanks. Safe drive home.
Thank you all and Merry Christmas.
Yep, Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Whatever hits in bluff, and I feel pretty strong about it.
Okay, agenda item number 2, Bradley and Jocelyn Lindgren, please come up to the table here and state your name and address for the record for an application for a variance to add on to a non-conforming structure.
Bradley Lindgren,
Joyce Lindgren.
our address 35518 Hoffman Beach Drive, Minnesota 56338.
Can you pull the mic a little closer? Thanks. Perfect. All right, Miss Amy, staff report?
Yep, Mr. Chair, this is an after-the-fact variance request to continue the expansion of a non-conforming structure within setback to the lake, side property line, and road right-of-way. The ordinance sections that apply are 706.1 and then 706.1B. Here's an aerial photograph of the parcel outlined in blue. And then here is a photo of the property from the water. And then here's a site drawing provided by the applicant. And then here are some Floor plans also provided by the applicant. And then here are some photos taken at the site viewing. The property is in Section 6 of Richardson Township on Platte Lake. The property is a non-conforming single lot size and is within the first addition to Hoffman Beach subdivision, which was established in 1955. According to the assessor's records, the original 24 by 30 single-story dwelling with no basement and a detached 22 by 28 garage was built in 1965. It is 50 feet from the lake, and a 21 by 14 and a 10 by 14 one-quarter story addition with no basement was constructed in 1979, which attached the garage to the dwelling. It is acknowledged by Land Services that there is a basement area beneath the original home, which houses the utilities. However, it is not deep or large enough for the assessor to value. According to the applicant's site drawing and explanation provided for the October 17th, 2023 variance, there is a dirt crawl space with utilities beneath the original 24 by 30 cabin. And then this was the site drawing provided at that time. On October 17th, 2023, the Board of Adjustment approved a variance to place a new 28 by 28 attached garage and a 10 by 14 entryway onto the south or the road side of the existing home. The applicant stated within their application that the existing attached garage was intended to be converted into additional living space and a bonus room was planned above the new garage. Within the October 2023 variance application, the applicant discussed the limitations of the expansion, including the inability to build downward due to lake separation and the need for a new interior stairway from the proposed entryway to access the utility room safely. And then this is an excerpt from that application discussing those things. The resulting land use permit authorized the 28 by 28 attached garage addition and the 10 by 14 entryway addition onto the existing home. It included a basement area beneath the entryway to accommodate the stairway. The applicant did not relocate the septic system to the utility lot they own across the street, as indicated within their October 2023 variance application. Rather, they permitted a Type 3 system on the lake side of the property. While staff were on site to conduct a field check on a deck replacement permit, they noticed that the construction on the home did not appear to match the variance or permit that had been granted. A second site visit with the property owner and their submittal of building plans confirmed the following. That new construction had taken place new construction in place of the existing attached garage, including a basement and second level, and then new construction in place of the 1979 portion of the existing home with basement and expanded side walls and new roof resulting in more volume and height. So here's the before and the after. Staff concluded that the October 2023 variance was voided with the removal of the original structure, as that was not identified within the scope of the request, and that other expansions had taken place that were not authorized by the variance. A first notice of violation was issued. The applicant is requesting an after-the-fact variance to expand a non-conforming dwelling by completing the construction of the following: a 1,273 square foot dwelling addition with a full basement and second level, and a 784 square foot attached garage with a second level. The additions do not further encroach on the 50-foot setback from the lake. The survey done as part of this request revealed the structure is 3 feet 7 inches from the road right-of-way and 4 feet from the west side property line. And then here is that survey with some of those setbacks highlighted. Since this is a platted property and roadway, the platted road is dedicated to the public. In the past, the township did not recognize this and had given inconsistent right-of-way claims. To be sure all development is completely on an owner's property, the county takes the setback from the platted property line that abuts the platted road. The township is exploring vacating a portion of the dedicated road, but that is not complete or known how much of the road would be turned over to the adjacent property owners. The overall height of the structure, according to the plan submitted, is 23.5 feet, and the basement does meet the FEMA floodplain elevation requirement. And then here is a letter submitted by the township, and I believe that was that in your packet, gentlemen? Yes. Okay, I couldn't remember if I got it before or after the packets went out. So here is the comment from the township regarding the vacation of the road. And then here are criteria questions, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Ms. Amy. Lindgren's, anything to add to that change?
Yes. We have Gary Hoffman here, who built the road, and.
Yep, we're just, this and the board, you and the board right here is what we're gonna focus on right now.
Okay, what's,
Yep. So what the question is, do you have anything to add or revise from Amy's initial report here? Did she get anything wrong?
I don't think so. I think it was just the depth of the basement that was issued, and I have the purchase agreement and everything that states that basement was there.
and what we spoke about at the on-site visit.
That's what we need to know.
Yeah.
Nope,
Mr. Chair,
nope. Go ahead, Amy.
it'll be important because minutes were not taken at the viewing. If there is anything, we want to make sure that any point that you wanted to make at the viewing, please state it for the record here, if there's something that you want to reiterate. The other thing I want to clarify is I always give the information according to our assessor. The assessor does not value the basement. We do recognize that there is a basement. We're not denying that there's a basement. So I just want to clarify, we're not arguing that there always was a basement. It's just that when I pulled the assessor's records, they're not valuing it. And so it makes it look like that's not there. And so that's why I took the time to acknowledge that. So, yeah, we're not arguing that there's a basement underneath there.
Okay, so we want to express to the board appreciation for you coming out on Friday and us having that conversation and discussing these issues that weren't taken as notes. So we'll just kind of touch on those issues where you wanted us to be guided by where we went off and how we went off. It was a long, honest, refreshing, and we spoke very frankly at that site visit about where some of this stuff went off the tracks. And we appreciate that, and that was very refreshing, and thank you. First and foremost, where this kind of went off the track is when we applied for the permit, we applied for a basement with the permit. And we said we want to put a basement underneath the full garage and the addition. And we were told, from the person typing it into the computer, go ahead.
We had actually asked, did we fill this out correctly? Because I had a conversation with her stating that our footings were not deep enough. And she said, yeah, you filled that out. And then she asked me the question if the basement would also be included in the 10 by 14 addition. And I told her just a portion of it, which is the 7 feet.
And on the application that we got the receipt for, it said basement added, flat fee $80. That's the only piece of paper we got. Moving forward from there, and also we offered the plans. We got the building plans we have at that time to give to you. She said, no, we don't take them at this point. If we need them, we'll get a hold of you and we'll go from there. So we said, okay, fine. About a week later, this was in January, about a week later, we got information from Darren that our plan was incomplete for two reasons. One, the stormwater plan, and two, questions on the sewer. So for the next 3 weeks, probably 12 or what, you've got all the emails there, you've got the background packet, back and forth on those two issues. We got that settled. We were told that if we put the sewer across the street, or the drain field, excuse me, across the street, we'll give you a permit now. If you want to put the sewer on this side and you can fit it in there, because the county at that meeting changed, or the township, which an official is here tonight too, if there's any other questions, that because of that, that put our current system in play where it's meeting everything, but we would have to change change it because the pipe was 7 feet over or too close to the house. So we could work in that configuration, and we said, well, let's pursue that. Let's look at that issue, and we'll see in the spring, and we did the testing and certified the sewer and did all that stuff. So that's how that went. So we waited from January till May to get the permit, and then we were issued the permit. And there was never anything in that permit that says you can't have a basement. We can't have a full basement. Our mental thoughts are, we applied for it, it's got the receipt for it, we told the lady what we wanted to do with it, and because we knew that something might not be right with with the garage attaching to the house and footings, and we were still having contractors come out to say if they could or couldn't or whatever. We would like to have put,
Just staircase.
yeah, and to put the staircase in, to move it, and to Marv's credit, and I've thought of you about 150,000 times for the practical difficulty at the basement, and I'm glad the rest of you three could come in there and see what our practical difficulty was. So that's where that's where the basement stuff got off track. As we were developing the plans and going through everything with that, the contractor who took our job said, we'll do it, but our architect and our cement people, because this is just piecemeal together. Fine.
So this is the third architect that we've had.
Well, it's his guy, yeah.
Yeah.
So we had him do that. The concrete guy says that you can't dig the staircase through the addition garage portion because it's all sand. And the garage out front has to be 5-foot footings, and the basement that's there now needed to be at least 5-foot footings because you can't attach a garage 5-foot to a floating slab that's not attached to the house, which is what we found out during this process. You cannot attach that floating slab, or it doesn't touch the house. It just wouldn't work. So they would have to go down 5 feet. Basement guy goes, now we got a 5-foot basement, or 5 feet crawl space to run all the piping and the venting and all that stuff through. But he goes, this is sand, it's all sugar sand, and we're gonna put that to a 7-foot basement now. I would not suggest doing that because that house can fail, the structure can fail. I would go down to 8 feet, that's a typical basement, and then jack underneath the current basement and support it and cement it and encase it in. So that's the reason for, that's how we got
Ending up with a basement in.
the way it is and how it is and how you saw it.
And you did see that, well, Marv didn't, that most of that basement is almost unusable because it's only a walkway to what we didn't have, our egress window for an escape window. And that's what we used the 7 feet for.
We also talked about at the meeting, what we were out of line with is the front and the vault. We had talked about that. So our original plans for the front on the sloped roof was to build a dormer in that roof so that you can see out. And on our first variance building, we said we were gonna build up to 25 feet and tie it back into the house with the bonus area up above the garage. And when we did that, tearing down that vault, they found the mold. And like I said at the meeting, or our site visit, the roof, the inside of that vault, the top half was styrofoam and the bottom half was faced insulation. So it created a vapor barrier, and 70 years of moisture and wood heat and heating and cooling, it was mold. So we chased that mold all the way down there, and that was always the plan. We didn't order the windows, we didn't order the trusses or anything until October, because that changed. We had to take the roof off. And we knew it was a backup plan, Plan B, just to put the vault in there. And same thing with all the walls were the same thing there too. So for the mold issues, take them down. So it was the mold issues down the walls, and then they have to be 2x6 walls for the modern building code. And then above that, the heat and energy law from
And
the
then-
70s or whatever, the 2x6 walls.
And then we still had the rot on the front of the house, which we didn't know was there either. Until we went for the permit, the deck permit.
You talk about so that's what that was for, and that's why it happened that way. Plus, we leaned into the ordinance that we talked about at the site visit too, as far as non-conforming structures being able to change the roof pitch and stuff. We did call and communicate and leave messages and talk with planning and zoning. If you look at this on a 10,000-foot level from January until the day of the permitting, or the day of the deck permitting, we were in constant contact with land services back and forth, and we're shooting from the hip and listening to licensed architects, licensed construction guys, licensed cement guys, not wanting the house to collapse or have structural damage or flaws. Am I missing anything on those 2 points?
No, just to clarify, once, we sat open for almost 2.5 months before, and we were living there, in the living room, with the loft and everything all there, until, because we had the architect stop when his mother passed. And, because he said, Tom will figure out that window portion in the lofted area, how it will come to be.
Hand frame.
So we just said, yeah, leave the design the way it is, and that's why the front looks like it originally was at the lofted area to come straight up and then have a window this way. And we got into the whole issue once he started working in that living room area, so.
And to prove, or not to prove, but to inside when they were digging the basement out, and tying it back in the basement portion, we were living in the house. We had just moved out about a week before, or a few days before, the permitting came in for the permit, for the deck permit. And again, that's the cause of us being here right now, the fact that we did check with land services and said, I called in, I talked to Sharon, and I said, we have a building permit, we have joist rot on the front of the house, a rim joist, and can we pull that off and do that? No, it's on the lakeside, so you have to have a permit. We immediately applied for a permit. And I talked to Darren, and you've got the emails in there with Darren, because the county had the wrong sizes, and we measured the back of the deck versus the floor of the deck. And he goes, maybe I'll just come out there on Monday and take a look at it. And we said, yeah, come on out. So just trying to prove that we're not intending to do anything wrong or out of the way. We're making judgment calls as we're going through this process. And that's how we got there. Also, for the board to know, when we got the stop notice or the site inspection saying, don't do anything here, just drop everything, because it's not good to continue to move on, we did that. Nothing, what you saw there is what was 2 months ago when we were there. Also, because it's a little bit relevant here now, our contractor we set up camera systems because we're vulnerable there with not being able to secure everything. And van showed up and people that we didn't recognize were walking around there and stuff. And I contacted the contractor and said, do you have people coming out here? And he says, yeah, it's the roofers. Because part of that stop order, we had 6 roof vents holes in our ceiling on the main cabin going in. And I said, get them out of there. This is a stop. We voluntarily stopped. And he goes, we're just putting a roof vents in and we're gonna do it. And I said, I am driving out to that house right now. And if they're there and they don't leave, I'm calling the sheriff and throwing them out of there. So, I mean, I'm just trying to express how diligent we've been trying to be doing this. This whole road right-of-way issue and what I talked in our variance response, once it got published in the newspaper, it really got talked about by the neighborhood, because there's houses all along there that are, one is as close as mine, and he got a regular permit straight up. To me, I'm still trying to figure out how that happens. Our neighbors everybody that's been permitted, and they're going, wait a minute, this is an after-effect thing because you're in a right-of-way thing? What is this all about? And I explained how the road was, and that's what I wanted Gary to explain here, how that happened. When they moved the road, they didn't vacate at that time. And so that's the road right-of-way that's now in play for these properties here. How can we fix this? I went to the township board and said, how can we fix this? Vacating was an issue that they brought up and that we pursued. The neighbors, there was probably close to a dozen neighbors and property owners along that strip who had permits, and they're really kind of freaking out now, going, what is this? Are we next, or what's going on? And so we all showed up at the township board meeting with the neighbors, and they voted, motioned, and moved forward with, let's look at vacating that strip of property from the edge of the road to our property line markers. Some people it'll be 5 feet, some people will be 8 feet, some people will be 14 feet, and settle that once and for all. And I think it's a pretty good effort to try and do as citizens to fix a whole problem here, because if that right-of-way line goes away, and it's the clear boundary, and that was the intent of the township, one of the intents to move the road back, that the county wins for not having these things and being able to issue permits, not doing the after-the-fact hearing. The township wins that they're not fighting and feuding with the county and doing this every time, and spot stuff. And then we win as property owners that we're able to have that and build there. That's gonna take a while. And it's in the process of doing it. As far as the permitting, where we didn't put the drain field across the road, we've always said, it's in the writing, it's in the original application, that we, if necessary, we will do that. And again, the play was, now that the road right-of-way moved at that last meeting, that was an option to go. And Amy, at our original meeting at the property, I asked you, is this about the sewer going across the road? If it's about the sewer going across the road, let me know, and we'll make that change right now. And you said no, that we could either build it on our property or on the road. So that's kind of where the sewer stuff came into play here.
Oh, and about the eve, where we're over, according to the survey, which he states he's off a couple inches here and there. When you roof, Tom didn't know how to really cut it back. We had just had it roofed. And so he was gonna take it back. When you actually roof a new place, you have to go square, otherwise your lines are gonna be way off. So he intended to cut that back once we drew the line from stake to stake, so that we can see exactly how far we're back.
The final
Because we are over 10 feet.
measuring that, and the final determination was still in play when this came up with the permit and stuff, so we just stopped that.
Yeah,
So,
so it is our intention to cut it back to the 10-foot setback.
Are you talking about Sorry, Mr. Chair,
Yep.
are you talking about to the side? Yeah, or
Yeah,
which setback
the
are you
west,
referring
the west
to?
side,
Okay,
yeah,
the portion that says the 7.4? That part?
yes, yes.
Okay,
That corner eave is going to come off.
got
right
it. So
down to the
that
10.
portion of the house will go to 10
10
feet?
feet.
And then that 4-foot encroachment a little farther north, though, would...
Well, that was always there.
Was always there.
And that was the original, or the variance in 1979 that runs with the property. And again, I was looking at the ordinance, repair, maintain, replace, that's what we were working there, even though the size of the windows on that walls that we put back up were the same size. So I think that kind of, I'm sorry for the time, sorry,
Existing windows.
sorry for taking up so much time.
You're all right. Yep, you're still up.
No, we're done.
Done.
Okay. So I'm going to open this up to the board members for question and comment, and I'm going to start here. So, and this one's for you, Miss Amy. So from the original variance to where we are at today, what is the difference in impervious surface?
The difference in impervious surface isn't different, because well, they're from the original request to this one, or
To what?
from what they always, to what the original structure was to this?
No, to the originally approved variance to what is there today.
There, I don't believe is any difference. The dimensions of the structure proposed are the same, if not, so the difference you see though from the original application to this one is a surveyor calculated the impervious surface the second time, and they calculated the impervious surface the first time. So that's where you may see some difference. But overall, there wouldn't be, I mean, what they're proposing as far as for footprint.
Can you pull up figure 8, please?
You bet.
So on this picture here, with the garage and with the living quarters directly above the garage, that are closest to us, that was always intended, correct?
That was understood in that first request, that there was going to be that bonus area above, yes.
Right, so when we're looking at the second story, that was not intended to be there, or that was there as well?
That was not understood to be part of the scope of the work. What was understood was this area here was going to be the original home.
With the slanted roof?
Correct, with this still, but this all was going to remain. This was going to be converted to living space.
Yep.
And then the garage you see here was going to be added here to replace essentially the garage that was being converted,
Right.
and then that bonus room above, and then the entryway here. So the two construction projects that were understood was a new garage here with bonus space above, and then the entryway here with a stairway that would get them downstairs to safely access that crawl space. That was the understanding of for the first variance.
So if the impervious, I'm asking some math questions here, so if you don't have them, that's all right, but, okay. And if anybody else does or did their math or geometry homework, I'd be delighted.
So essentially, the size of garage that they built is what was proposed. So,
Right.
so I'm not sure.
So my question is, we're looking at this change from what we originally approved. What's the total surface area of the sidewalls that now exist that weren't supposed to exist with the original variance?
So when we look at expansion, it's not just going out, It's going up and it's going down.
Right.
It's a gain in volume. So the way we define expansion in the ordinance, it doesn't have to be a gain in livable space. It can be a gain in volume, height. So essentially, what expanded or what was beyond the authorization of the variance was the increase in the sidewall height here. That's a gain in volume. And that carries over to the front part of the house, and I can go to that next. So if you look here, we have a gain in volume because this sidewall, we have an increase in sidewall height,
Yeah.
and then we have that vaulted area, and that goes all the way back. That's a gain in volume, which is expansion, which was not identified. And then we've got that basement, the 8-foot basement then underneath this area that was not identified. And those are, that is also a gain in volume, a gain in livable space, and, excuse me, would have needed authorization because this does not meet setback from the lake.
Right. What is the total height of the original structure that's up there?
I don't have that.
Do you guys know that? The original.
Wasn't that, the original? It was just over 18 feet.
Okay.
And
now-
according to the site plan they provided, excuse me, the new is 23 and a half.
So we're talking about 5 feet total there. Brad?
So on our original request, please explain your request in detail to erect a 28 by 28 attached garage. This was 26. The existing driveway and a 10 by 14-foot entryway over the cement patio, attaching and tying all back into the existed lofted area. And all of this build-out will be beyond and out of the 75-foot lake setback and under the 25-foot height requirement. It was always our intent to build up and tie it back to our loft area like you saw inside the house. Does that make sense?
We needed to connect it.
Yes, I understand what you're saying. I think the part where, can you go to the figure 9? The part where,
That one?
yes,
Oh, yeah.
I don't think your application said tie it back to the loft area and then continue that all the way out with a vaulted roof all the way out to the lake that covers basically everything that you just said. And if this is the plan that you originally had and somebody said, hey, you need to go to an 8-foot basement versus a 7-foot basement with that much roof, I might understand why a contractor said that, but if you were looking at the original picture and you had a 7-foot, I can't imagine a contractor would say, yeah, it's not going to be able to support that. So I think this is the part where we're trying to find out where the rubber meets the road on
Right.
what actually happened or took place here, because we're not looking at this after the fact like it's an after the fact against a variance we already approved. We're looking at this as it's a new variance request because the other one is null and void at this point. So this is just
That original loft area, if you're looking at the angle of the roof there, where that pipe comes out, we were only going to do a dormer over that section that walks back to the lofted area.
and it looks like there's a
Until-
dormer there right now. If I'm,
Yes. That
Okay.
originally Tom said he would hand frame that dormer in there, so we wouldn't be staring at a ceiling. You know, it was going to stand up where that lofted area actually was, where that pipe is coming out of the roof.
right, towards the lake.
Yes, towards
Okay.
the lake
And that
side.
ordinance that I had read at the meeting, what we were leaning on there was non-conforming lots and structures shall, non-conforming lots and structures shall follow the provisions within section 301.
Yep.
Yep,
I'm with you.
of this ordinance, except that a change in roof pitch on a principal dwelling that increases the overall height but does not result in a gain of living space shall be allowed with a permit if it meets the height allowances in section 706.
Okay, thank you. So as I'm looking at this, whole application and everything that they've done, and then I went back and watched what we originally approved based on the answers that everybody gave. We're talking about what it looks like in Figure 9, the difference in the second-story windows there, and probably the exterior ones based on where the dormer facing the lake would have been originally. And on the backside, it's the, can you go back to Figure 8? I don't have any jump around, I appreciate it. It's the second dormer here, or the second story here, that was supposed to just be tied all the way back, and I don't think that's,
Well, that was.
I don't
the-
think that was in the original plans.
That was the 10 by 14 addition.
A second-story addition or a 10 by 14 porch, or is it a two-story porch?
It's,
Two-story porch. But, and this is a deceptive picture. I mean, you were out there, and that's a reason for the site plan. Walking in from the top of that garage bonus room, that's roof area going
Yeah.
to the,
yeah, we only use
Okay.
7 feet of the lower level, but
And that-
14 of the
so where
top
that-
to square it off.
where that second one is in the background, that's above our loft area. That's where, on the first half.
Right.
That is that.
So you had originally there 18 feet, which would have probably been 3/4 of the way up that window, and now you're at 23? Is how I understand it? Okay. Okay, other board members? Questions, comments, observations?
Mr. Chair?
Clint?
So Amy, on the survey, it says 3,259 square feet. Is that after this? Well, it don't really matter. I guess nothing changed as far as square footage. It's just volume or cubic feet would change.
Are you asking about the impervious surface calc?
No, just
or-
total square footage. Because here we had, there's a spot in here what said they added on 1,273 square feet, and then also 784 square foot garage.
I was just taking the rough dimensions
Okay.
of what's there.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, and we have, the garage is set back 10 feet at 24.
Yeah, it's 24 at the end. It's
Yep.
not 28 by
Yep.
28.
Yeah,
Okay, and then on your square footage of the basements down there, what's the square footage of that?
I have no, well, it would be the same as what's up on the main level,
It's
the
in-
old garage,
I'm gonna
plus the dirt. That
ballpark
was
it
in between.
at between 850 and 9, 30 by 30 or whatever the
Okay.
dimensions are. It's in the
20.
blueprints.
Okay, because the reason why I ask is because it's what gets kind of, okay, so I'll start over. Okay, so when I look at what John was just talking about and what you did up, okay, we could sit and nitpick, as far, now this is my opinion, I don't know how the rest of the board is, we could sit and nitpick all day long, the extra, you know, because you went up and this and that. The way I look at it is, there's a loft up there, that's livable space. Okay, you added height to it, but you didn't add no more livable space. You made it more usable.
Yes.
You know, that's how I see it. I could be totally wrong, okay? So I want to focus on, now we go down to the basement, okay? That didn't really go, so now I'm looking through here and I found the building permit. In the building permit on there, it says 924 square feet on the basement. So,
Oh, 924 on the basement, that's total. That's the
gonna look
new
here, I got-
lofted dimensions.
I'm gonna try and find it here. I had it. Pardon, there's so many papers here, it's hard to, I should have marked it, but I wrote it down, so I guess I'll look for it to, right here. So it's on the second page of our packet. Got the cover and then it's the next one. So it says, now tell me if I'm looking at this wrong. It says basement, $80 flat fee. So then that's different. Dwelling unit addition, $25 or 25 cents square foot, 924. So is that for the addition, Amy, or is that for a basement? That's where it gets confusing for me.
You're only looking at the
Right here.
charge page.
Yep.
Yep, so I'm sorry, what was the question?
Okay, so we have,
That's
it
the
says,
dwelling unit addition, that was not for the basement, that was for the 28 by 28 garage and the 14 by whatever
Okay.
entryway, that's that square
So
footage.
then a basement, it's just a flat fee.
If you're, yes, depending on what the square footage is, but yes, it was under
Okay,
the minimum.
flat fee. So then when they applied for this,
If you look at, you're only looking at that, the full
Yep.
permit
No, I
should
know.
be in your
Yep.
packet, which says what it's authorizing. And it doesn't appear that that's in your packet for some reason.
yeah, that's where I couldn't find
Give me just a moment to pull that up.
what was actually permitted for a basement is what I'm getting after.
Yep, I will get it. Just give me just 1 second here.
Okay, so then while she's looking for that, we'll just talk a little bit another little concern. This side of the lake's getting pretty built up, okay? And then there's a lot of talk about the sewer and all that and trying to get it to fit in and all this stuff. And I don't know where we're gonna go tonight all the way through, but what I'm gonna bring up when we get that far, conditions, is I'm gonna put a condition on that the sewer mound be on the other side of the road.
Drain
okay?
field.
Yeah, drain field,
No
okay?
problem, no problem.
So I want to put that on. Another thing too is we can have some discussion on it. What's your plans with that basement?
Nothing.
To support the house
Okay, so,
and access to get down to the main
Yep.
basement. and-
so another thing is, okay, you ain't gonna own it forever, okay?
Yeah, we will.
Well, you live to be 200, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So one thing we should think about is the next owner might make one of them a bedroom, right? Okay, so we want to make sure that our sewer is sized right. Okay, not, it might have to
I
be
don't-
just a little bit bigger than what you need, but you know what I'm saying?
This goes back to exactly what we said at the beginning. If necessary, we'll do it. You're gonna make it necessary, we're gonna do it.
Okay, so we'll maybe have a little more discussion on that later, but I just wanted you to
Yep.
be aware of, that's probably what I'm on a condition moving forward.
Sure.
Amy, you found it?
Yep, Mr. Chair, it's figure 6 in your packet. And what was authorized is to construct a new garage, 28 by 28, with a 10 by 14 entry addition. Entry addition will have basement. So that's what was permitted.
Okay.
You scroll down.
And then the square footage of the new dwelling addition is 924.
Okay. So then when you guys got them permits, Brad, did you, I mean, how did this happen? Did you miss this or what happened here? Why, you know, you got it, you went in, got a permit for a basement, all that, and then all of a sudden your basement's bigger than what the permit said?
We are, the only thing that we got was the piece of paper saying that. This took 5 months, all the talk back and forth. There's 2 problems with your application. 1, stormwater. 2, let's talk about the sewer.
Yep.
Nothing about the basement. So our, and what we said is, and this was issued on a computer, and all we got was, yep, your permit's approved. We never dove into the computer and looked at any of the specifics. And then when it was brought up towards, at the end here, and we looked at it, and it's basic, it's missing an ampersand. It's missing a plus mark, entry and addition, entry and addition, it's just a and.
And to clarify, we
and so we
asked
still
her
thought,
if we
even looking
filled
at
this
that,
out correctly.
From what we requested, that's how we got there.
Okay. So then just a question, because I gotta ask it
Yep.
because I'm curious,
Yep.
okay? So I totally understand why you wanted to go as deep as you did with footings and all them type of things. So if you're not really wanting to use the basement for much, why wouldn't you just put footings and fill it in? You know, before you built. You know what I'm saying? You know, you built your basement, you went down, because you have, I totally understand you want footings down, hold up the structure, okay, you turn it into a basement. Why wasn't a thought that you'd just backfill it and then build over top of that?
Just to what the concrete guy said,
Okay.
to fill in underneath that basement and do it that way. We have no plans on that basement. That wasn't too big the way it is. That's what I've always told her, but whatever.
Okay.
And also the heating, the ductwork and all that stuff is coming down into that basement. You're not gonna be able, and they're stopped in mid-project as well. If you would've saw that, it's gonna come, all the runs are gonna go where that current staircase is now. We're gonna pull all that equipment out there, and where that window was showing, where the basement stairs was gonna go.
Yeah.
It's gonna be big duck runs. I mean, you're gonna have to duck underneath it to walk in there the way it is. It's an albatross is what it is.
Okay.
And it never occurred to us to do it that way. And again, I can't stress this enough, and I saw last, whatever, you're gonna have contractors and these people come in and educate them and train them. We're leaning heavily on those guys. And they tell me to do this, and whatever number question that is, economic circumstances, that was an extra
33,000.
versus what footings would have been
Yeah.
to begin with. And we got the only one contractor who's gonna do it, and he says, no, I'm not doing 5-foot footings.
Yeah.
So I didn't know there was an alternative.
No, that's why I'm just
Yeah,
asking, because
okay.
you could put 8-foot footing in and still backfilled it. And then that would lessen the burden of putting the roofs on, or, you know what I'm saying? Because it's just extravagance, it's so much more when we're looking about the overall extra capacity that we have, you know, now.
And-
And it'd be a lot less, it'd ease us a little more, I would say,
Yeah.
maybe. You
And
know,
now
that's
that-
all I'm asking
And now that you
for.
brought it up too, you know, this was always something that's been in the back of my head. It's to build a 28 by 28 structure and a 10 by 14 structure, but it doesn't talk about how high it could be and how low we can go. There's
Yeah.
nothing in the work scope that says that.
Okay. So that's just some things I wanted cleared up. Oh, and then another thing quick, I had a note down. I seen emails back and forth about your stormwater plan and all that stuff. Anything happen with that yet, or that's a spring project, or?
It's guttering.
Okay.
And then a splash pad, and then a filtration area, and Mom's property was next door.
Yeah.
So, if it would ever make it to the fence line, just berm it.
Okay.
That's how we left it.
That's what I read in the email, so I
Okay.
just wanted
Yep.
to, okay, thank you.
Mr. Chair,
Mark?
so on that stormwater plan.
Yep.
The original one, I thought I heard you say that you were gonna put like a holding pond and gardens and stuff like that.
No,
There was no holding pond or anything else?
no, sir.
Okay,
Darren had talked about that at that site visit.
Okay.
At the original one, and he wanted that right in the middle where the current train field was and stuff. And the board said, or you guys said, work out the stormwater plan with land services.
Okay.
And that's those emails that we did.
yep, and I remember putting the condition on saying,
Yep.
Approved by land services, a stormwater plan. So as long as they're okay with this, I'm okay with it. The septic system is another one that, as you probably remember, I was sitting here advocating for you because
Yes.
of the fact that you were showing you were being stewards of the property.
Yes.
And some of these actions now I'm beginning to wonder about what had transpired in it, because I also said about any time contact land service, any question, contact land service. So some of these emails and things I'm hearing are just like, well, I don't know, I'm kind of concerned about it. But on the septic system, yeah, what I heard you say is if it will not fit in there, it was gonna go across the road. So I like what Clint's said over here, that, hey, if we're gonna do this, that has to be across the road, especially with this here. And the height never did get over that 23.5, because by the pictures, it sure looks like it's
Yeah.
taller than that.
And Dave Hess was right. He says this is gonna be a big building. He was right about that thing, even though he voted no all the way through. He was right, and
And another part of why I lobbied or was for you this year is access for utilities to the basement and
Yes.
getting in and out. But then when I see this rather large basement and everything else, this is wow, because this is kind of what I agreed to, and it was gonna be at this scale, and then it turns so much larger, just like, wow, this is, for this small lot, this is a little bit excessive. So I'm a bit concerned about it myself. That's just remarks.
right, and you were the one that again, thank you for being able for us to get the stuff out of the bottom of the house. But putting the staircase, moving that staircase over and putting it through where it is now, and they said, in order to put that in, to drop it, I think I gave the example, he said, that's sand, we're not gonna deal with it. If you gotta go down 6 feet, you gotta go 1.5 feet over that way and 1.5 feet over this way. So just to put a staircase in that soft sand, you'd have to have an 18-foot wide dig to get it down there. And that staircase is probably, 7 feet, because it goes to
And it's 12 feet long.
Yeah.
You gotta shore up
get-
and everything else.
to
I'm
get
involved,
that.
I know firsthand about excavating it. It's
Okay.
like this there, I used to work for a power company with shoring and excavating and all that kind. So, yeah, you could say, yeah, they could shore it, dig it, shore it, and dig it. There's many different ways of doing it. But, yeah, you needed access. Did it need to be the excessive? I don't know. I'm not here to argue that. But there's two ways to look at it.
Okay.
Thanks, Marv.
Mr. Chairman, so Brad, I guess I struggled with this one. I spent a lot of hours looking at this thing, and, you know, I mean, I guess I kind of understand how you got to where you're at, but boy, that's a big house on that lot. And, I understand, underneath the old garage, there was just a slab on grade, and I look at what your permit was that you got on the 14th of November in '23, I guess it's pretty clear on there what you were supposed to build, and I guess how we got to this huge house with, with pretty much most of it, it's 2 stories tall. I mean, basically, even though there's not a lot of increase in living space, I guess that's my concern, is that, I think we've overbuilt this lot. And that's where I'm at on this right now. And I understand how it got there, but I guess I sure wish you would have asked some questions. Because, you had the right to rebuild one for one. And, I wish you would have asked those questions. Because it makes it extremely difficult on our end of it, to deal with this.
We did make phone calls, we did leave messages, and they did not get returned. And we got the builders building and pushing us forward, and that, I'm sorry.
Yeah, well, I just,
Yeah, and it was just the fact that it wasn't connected. Had it been connected to the house properly, we had dirt in between, that's what that picture is
Yeah.
showing.
I understand all that,
Okay.
It's just that, I mean, I could understand somebody, doing a couple hundred square feet, but man, we have a huge house on this place now, compared to what it should have been according to the first variance. And that's where I'm struggling on this. Where it should have been and where it ended up aren't even in the same ballpark, in my opinion. So that's where I'm at on it. So I'll yield back to you, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah, no, that's good. And that was my initial struggle with the whole thing, was we're not looking at it as, yes, we're asking questions on how we got there and why we're there, but this after the fact is, would you have approved this from the get-go, from when you originally did?
Mr. Chair?
Clint?
So here, that's what I've been thinking and kicking around about this. So after going through this now, listening to Brad, so what it boils down to me, you already heard me talk about the extra area, up. It looks bigger than what it is. It's no more living space. It's more usable, okay? But it's still volume, so that's not, I'm not saying that it's right. But then when we look at the basement, I think the biggest thing we got to look at is, would we approve this if it wasn't there? So now my thoughts is, he's talking about getting down there with a stairway and all that. I totally understand that. The hardest thing for us is it's here now. We're not supposed to look at it like it's there now, but it is, right? You think any one of us want you to tear it down? No, but that ain't, we got to follow ordinance. So when I'm looking at it now, if I'd be for this project, I'd probably say yes if I didn't have the portion that's under the garage. I understand you need it extra with the addition, and then you maybe went to say that's the south towards the garage a little more to get the access because of the sand, to have that down there. But there's still extra there, and it's there, and it's a dilemma for us to figure this out, and we got to answer these questions. Like, one of them, is it reasonable? I can maybe say yes all the way through until we get to the little extra that's under the garage. I totally understand having a little extra than what was originally there to make the stairway work. Okay, so I can understand. So that's where I'm just coming from. This is a very hard thing, because we just can't have I'm not saying, I don't think he did it deliberately. You know, it happened, you know, we went through all this stuff. If you did or you didn't, good for you. I don't think you did it deliberately. If you did, you're pretty good at being an actor, whatever, you know. But I don't think you did deliberately. But the thing we have to think about also is, all these after the fact ones is, the next person will come in and they'll build something for $200,000, and we'll just build it because the board, it's already there, they'll just let it be, you know. So there's a lot of factors in this here. I know each one's different and separate, but that's what we're dealing with up here, trying to navigate this. So that's just some more jumbo and talk, and we all got different things in our head. But so when I'm looking at some of these questions on how I'm going to answer some of these, that's where it's bringing some of this thoughts into my mind. So I just wanted to bring that, being what George said, it kind of striked something in my head that I had to say, so.
Yeah, I'm on the opposite end of Clint with and I don't know how other board members are, but when it comes to these after the facts, I don't care whose property on other parts of the lake, a different lake right next to you. Every property is different when we look at it, and everybody's ways of getting to where they got are completely different. So we could say yes or no to this, and the next person that comes up, it'll be yes or no. That's it. Doesn't mean anything. So, yep. One quick comment. You called 20 times, couldn't get a hold of Land Services. The longest reply that I looked at these emails, date and time stamped, is 2 hours and 45 minutes. So you said you called Land Services over and over. I mean, you could have got in your car, you could have drove down here, or you could have got an email and just had a response within, it looks like the longest one is 2 hours and 45 minutes. That's the three different modes of communicating with the team here, in person, on the phone.
And we did come in person with the permits and talk to Darren and.
Right. So every time I get we called so many times. If you did, great. If you didn't, great. You can always stop by. You can always send an email. And it looks like every one of these were responded to. So that one just doesn't help for my look at this or evaluation in any way, shape, or form. Okay. Other questions, comments? We are going to move on to the public portion of this meeting. So anybody from the public wishing to speak to this application, please go up, state your name, address for the record, and the facts that you are wishing to share. Whoop. Right behind you.
You wouldn't even let me come all the way up there?
No, I can't hear you back there.
Gary Hoffman, 26742 Hoffman Road. Our ancestors, or my ancestors, are the ones that sold all this property up there on Hoffman Beach. So you can condemn either my ancestors or myself for not making them lots big enough. Every one of them are a problem. The Lindgrens do not try to get away with anything. They've tried to do their darndest. The basement, it's not hurting anything. It's helping the building stand up. It's not going to ever be a building or a living space by law because it doesn't have an egress window. I do like, though, Clint, I'm a sewer nut. When you say add another bedroom, that does not hurt a bit. That way, when a person wants to do a lot of laundry in a day, they can, and they don't have to space it out, because, you know, Saturday comes and that's when they want to do it. So I do like that idea. I wish that was something in 70, 80, but it's not. The road, Roger Klukluk had us donate another 33 feet of road right away up there. Originally, that was just a cartway, 33 feet. We put that on the opposite side of what was there, and we pulled the road over into the middle of that 33 feet, with Roger saying that's what we need to do because he wanted us to sell these back lots which most of the people up there bought, because they have no room on the lakeside. You know, and we wanted to put the road behind all of these sheds that they built, but you couldn't get everybody to go along with putting their own driveways in. So that ended that. Until the utilities get moved, there'll have to be an easement because the township is planning on vacating their portion of the road right away on the lake side to give these people a little more room also. And not just them, everybody that's up there. So that's some of the things that I can think of that you talked about. The house didn't gain any more footprint than what their original variance asked for. Marv, when you said that it got bigger, I think that was you that said that. You know, it really didn't get any bigger. It got maybe another structure up on top, but it had part of one before. It looks nice. It doesn't look out of place. It's not blocking anybody's view. So as far as we're concerned, it's just fine and dandy. Of course, I have no say in it on your end, but that's what I have to say. Is there anything I missed, Brad? Anything else I can?
Nope,
jump
just
on?
to me. No conversation there.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Appreciate it. Any other public comment? Please go up to the microphone, state your name and address for the record, and your facts. That's twice. Any public comment? Third time. Okay, closing this portion of the meeting to the public. Moving on to the finding of fact criteria. Questions? As we're discussing these, we have one condition at this moment in time, and that is to move the sewer across the road from right next to the house
Onto the utility lot.
onto the utility lot. It's a nice way of saying that.
Mr. Chair, I don't know if we need to put this condition on. We talked about it, was a stormwater management plan that is approved by Land Services. That was part of the original one, and I don't know if we need to tie that in. I would recommend that condition be there if they.
I'm guessing if it's null and void, that's probably got to be added. Yep, add that. Stormwater plan
Approved by Land
approved by
Services.
Land Services. Yep. Do we have to do another one for the roof line? Because you said that's going to get cut back, the eave.
Yes, that'll get cut back.
It's not a very, yeah.
We'll add that as a condition as well. Good with those? Okay, question 1. Is the request in harmony with the general purposes and intent of the Morrison County Land Use Ordinance and Comprehensive Plan? George?
I guess, look, I mean, they've done some good things with the lot. They've agreed to a stormwater plan to move the septic on the other side of the road. The impervious surface has been identified. It's going to be at around 24.8%. And I guess the thing I'm struggling with, again, is the size of the building. I do feel this lot is overbuilt with the extra building on the house.
Thank you, George. I'm on the opposite end of that because he is actually under what the ordinance states. He hasn't changed the impervious surface from the first thing that we had already approved. And now we got a win with the septic on that side of the house. And he's technically, I mean, he still had a little bit of room to go on the impervious surface per the ordinance itself. So height, impervious surface, all match up, meet up. You heard from the township on the whole setback from the road right away and what they're trying to do with that. So I tend to lean the other way.
Mr. Chair?
Clint?
I just add that one of the things that we were debating is the livable space, because that's part of expansion. And I think we could argue all day back and forth. They're saying they don't have no more livable space. Yes, there's part of a basement there that's not going to be used for basically no living space. That's on their word, whatever. In my opinion, when we went up the height, Didn't add any. We added some extra height. It's just more usable. It's not more livable space. It's more usable space. So I think it's kind of controversial, but I think it should be part of this.
Thank you, Clint. Anybody else? Question 2. Is the applicant proposing to use the property in a reasonable manner not permitted by land use ordinance? Clint?
Another one that's tricky here. When we look at it, again, we can piggyback off a little bit of what we answered on question 1 as far as we didn't increase any, they're not increasing any impervious surface. Actually adding some more green space in front on the lakeside with a stormwater plan. They started this project out. They want to make sure that their house is foundationally sound. It just got a little carried away in the building and how it all got there. Some things we look at are reasonable. There's not blocking anybody's view. Gary stated from the township. Again, we got a lot of debatable things here. I think when we look at what ordinance intends and what they're asking for and what they're doing, it's somewhat reasonable. It's probably in the eye of the beholder a little bit. Like I said, I'll keep pounding the fact home that we don't want no extra livable space is what we call expansion. This here is more, like I said, reasonable use space, not necessarily adding more space. So that's kind of how I'd answer question 2.
Thank you, Clint. Anybody else?
Mr. Chair,
Marv?
so the last time they came in for their variance, I think they were pushing it to its limits at that time. By doing some additional height and roof lines here, I think they crossed the line as far as reasonableness, like it's getting almost overbuilt. Even though the impervious surface didn't increase, it just from the roadside looks like it's a lot larger, and from the lakeside with that point and everything else, it looks like it's a lot larger. I think it stands out a little bit more than it should, and in that respect, I don't know if it's all reasonable.
Thank you, Marv. Anybody else? Question 3, will the issuance of the variance maintain the essential character of the locality? Everybody says this is looking big and feels big as far as the lot goes. There's technically one lot with the road running through it. The way I look at it. So you're under the impervious surface. You're under the height limit. Everything that you said in what is in this new application variance is meeting those measurements. When you look at the house, yes, it looks big. You're on a hill, so I don't know any houses on lakes that aren't tiny cabins that don't end up looking a little big. You got a vaulted ceiling. Adds space, doesn't add livable space. But again, you didn't change any of the roof line, so I don't think the actual character for this particular house changes or is that different from anything up and down that entire line that exists. There's always a biggest house on every single lake, on every single road, and guess what? There's always a smallest house. So, but again, what you've asked for and what was originally approved with the height, we already said yes to that. We already said you could do that. So I'm not going to vote differently this time around on this one either.
Mr. Chair?
Clint?
I'd just like to add this essential character to the locality. If you look at the lots on either side, the two lots on both sides, so that's 4 total. If you look at similar structures, and if you'd go on Beacon and do the square footage of them, very, very different. Very little difference in them. They're all about same size structures. I think it's going to fit in with essential character. A few of them are newer builds or newer looking. We actually have one of the next door cabins that's actually touching the lake almost, basically. So I think this here with this, what they're trying to do in modernizing, it's going to fit the not only locality, but probably a lot of the lake.
Thank you, Clint. Anybody else? Question 4, is the alleged practical difficulty due to circumstances unique to the property? Marv?
Well, the original practical difficulty in my, what I agreed with before was access to the basement for utilities, and they're accomplishing it by doing this. Did it need to get this far? Maybe not, but this is where the road we went down, and they're willing to stop here. With the conditions that are put in place to some of the things with the septic and all, and the stormwater management plan, the practical difficulty is getting taken care of, and the rest of these items are coming in line. That kind of comes into play this also.
Thank you, Marv. Anybody else?
Mr. Chairman,
George?
so, I really don't know that we have a practical difficulty on this application. I mean, a practical difficulty has something unique with the land. And, I don't know that there is that here. I mean, I've struggled with that, and I spent a lot of time on it, and I understand, the stairwell down to the utility room and stuff was narrow when we were down there and looked at it, but I just don't know if that's a practical difficulty.
Thank you, George. Question 5, is the need for the variance created by actions other than the landowner or prior landowners? George?
Well, I think the whole variance need here was, I think the original variance was probably okay, but as this thing ended up where it did, we have a large house now in a non-conforming lot. And it always was a non-conforming lot, and it always will be. So the need for the variance was, I think, created by the landowner.
Anybody else?
Mr. Chair.
Clint?
I would agree with some of what George said, but also you could add in here that I think part of this need is there's some things, either it's miscommunication between the applicant and land service, or miscommunication between the applicants and the construction people, just some of them, maybe some misinterpretation of the ordinances. I think that all has part of, has something to do with this. The landowner, of course, is part of the need for this, but it's not only. It's just there's a lot of things. This is a pretty complicated situation. There isn't a right or a wrong answer here. It's tough. And I think it just needs to be in there that's a lot of part of this problem with this one. And I think that just needs to be put into it.
Thank you, Clint.
Mr. Chair?
Marv?
Something we run into so frequently, it always seems, not always, but frequently passed on to the contractors. Well, ultimately, the contractors aren't responsible. It's the landowner that's responsible. And it's a scapegoat, even though we don't like it. We've been down this road many times with others, but ultimately, the landowner is responsible.
Thanks, Marv. Question 6, does the alleged practical difficulty involve more than just economic considerations? Clint?
Yes, we talked about a lot of things here today. I don't think he did anything here to try and save money. Actually, with one of the difficulties that we're looking at here is with our basement. Basically, it's some wasted money when we look at that. So I think there's just a ton of factors in this. We listed them all. I'm not going to say them all again. They're all listed, but we answered for most of these questions. You could throw into number 6 to go along with it. There's just a lot of misfortune here all the way around. Not saying it's right, not saying it's wrong. I'm just stating that.
Thank you, Clint. Anybody else? Okay. Thank you.
Hold on, Mr. Chair.
Yep.
So one thing to go along with that sewer, I did kind of allude to that a little bit. So how many bedrooms is this actually?
It'll be 3. The only thing that we added on was the bedroom. in the
Okay, so
garage
it'll be
area.
3. So would you be opposed that on this condition, because I wanted to condition the sewer across there, that we would condition this as a 4-bedroom home?
Sure.
Just to make sure that we
The
cover.
next property owner, if
Yep.
there is one.
Yeah, does that work for you?
Yes.
So Amy, can we condition that? That he says it's gonna be a 3-bedroom home, can we condition that he has to put a sewer in for a 4-bedroom home? Or is that something getting a little hairy?
You can, the other thing I'll add is, the ordinance does require if you have a basement, that you
Just
add a
automatically.
bedroom. That's automatic now in the local septic code.
Okay.
So if this is passed with a basement, we'd be looking for that additional bedroom sizing anyway.
Anyways, okay, just wanted to make sure, so, okay. Okay,
Just,
okay,
Yeah.
just go, yeah.
okay. Yep. On to the vote. Question 1, is the request in harmony with the general purposes? Not going to go to the question yet. The conditions that we're voting with?
Mr. Chair,
Please.
I've
Thank you.
got 3 for sure. The submittal of a stormwater plan that is approved by Land Services to move the septic system to the utility lot and to cut back the roof eave to meet the west side yard setback.
Good with those? Thank you. Question 1, is the request in harmony with the general purposes and intent of the Morrison County Land Use Ordinance and Comprehensive Plan? George?
No.
Clint?
Yes with the conditions.
John is yes. Marv?
I'm sorry, my conscience tells me I gotta say no.
Question 2, is the applicant proposing to use the property in a reasonable manner not permitted by land use ordinance? Clint?
With the conditions, yes.
John is yes. Marv?
No.
George?
No.
Question 3, will the issuance of the variance maintain the essential character of the locality? John is yes. Marv?
The height and everything, I gotta say no.
George?
Yes.
Clint?
Yes.
Question 4, is the alleged practical difficulty due to circumstances unique to the property? Marv?
Yes.
George?
No.
Clint?
Yes.
John is yes. Question 5, is the need for the variance created by actions other than the landowner or prior landowners? George?
No.
Clint?
Yes.
John is yes. Marv?
No.
Question 6, does the alleged practical difficulty involve more than just economic considerations? Clint?
Yes.
John is yes. Marv?
Yes.
George?
No.
I did not have all 6 questions answered to the affirmative. Is there a motion to deny this variance as requested?
Mr. Chairman, I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
Mr. Chair, I'm gonna have to second that.
Motion was made by George, seconded by Marv to deny the variance as requested. All in favor say aye.
Aye. Or nay, I'm sorry.
No,
You're denying it.
Oh, yes. Yeah, I'm sorry.
okay.
Yes. Aye.
Marv?
Aye.
Clint?
Nay.
John is nay. As we do not have a majority there, the variance is not approved at this time. Please work with Land Services as you move ahead on the next steps.
Chair, hold up.
Oh.
So the voting was not in the affirmative, but you did not pass that motion. It was 2 yes, 2 no.
Okay?
So we need to have some more discussion, either that or re-poll, because you're not passing this motion at this time.
Okay,
And
but
you need a majority, but we don't have a majority.
That is correct. Am I correct? Yes.
Okay?
But how am I gonna vote yes on a motion that I didn't vote that way all the way through on?
Right. You got two people that voted yeses all the way through, Clint and I, and you have noes from the other two on all of them except two questions. So the two questions are number 3 and number 6. Oh, sorry, number 4 as well.
Mr. Chair, are you saying what was answered in the yes?
What's that?
Are you saying what was answered in the yes?
Correct.
3, 4, and 6 were answered in the yes.
Right,
So
and you
you-
need all 6 to be in the yes, correct?
All,
I could be hazy on this, but
all 6 questions need to be answered in a majority yes in order to ask for a motion to approve. And/or you would re-poll that final vote for this motion. So it's up to you as a board.
I can
Yeah.
re-poll.
But you can re-poll all you want. I know I feel strongly about a couple things there. Something, can
my
someone
other-
point out exactly the difference between
Hang on.
the first variance we approved versus this one? The total, I can't remember exactly the things that were different, or can you?
This is a new after-the-fact
Yeah, I
variance
get that.
based on,
Yep,
yep,
that's,
Mr. Chair?
yep.
Can I ask for just a 5-minute recess so
Yes.
I can confer with our county administrator on Robert's Rule of Order?
Please.
All right, thank you.
Matt?